a coach made a direct statement. Aaron Rodgers is not the player he used to be. He is not as sharp, and honestly, I think his time is running out. A reporter asked Rodgers, Aaron, a coach recently said you are no longer the same player. Do you have a response? Rodgers said, I have heard a lot of opinions over the years, some good, some bad. But at the end of the day, opinions do not win, game's performance does. The reporter asked, so you do not take his words personally? Rodgers said, I do not play for opinions. I play for my team, for championships, and for the love of the game. If I let every critic get to me, I would not have made it this far. The reporter asked, do you think his criticism is fair? Rodgers' next words would silence every critic watching. The reporter repeated, do you think his criticism is fair? Aaron Rodgers said, everyone has a right to their opinion. If that coach believes I am not the same player, that is his perspective. But I have always believed that opinions do not define reality. Performance does. The reporter asked, but does it bother you when someone with experience in the game questions your ability? Rodgers responded, not at all. Football is about results. I have been doubted my entire career. People said I would never be a great starter. They said I could not win a championship. Now, they say I am too old. But through all of that, I have continued to perform at the highest level. That is the only response that matters. The reporter then asked, do you feel like you have anything left to prove? Rodgers replied, I do not play to prove people wrong. I play because I love the game. I have already accomplished everything I set out to do. But as long as I can still compete, why would I stop? The reporter followed up, do you think criticism like this fuels you? Rodgers said, I do not need extra motivation. My motivation comes from my teammates, my coaches, and my desire to win. If I worried about every negative comment, I would lose focus on what truly matters. The reporter asked, so what is your response to those who agree with the coach? Rodgers' next words would make headlines everywhere. The reporter asked, so what is your response to those who agree with the coach? Aaron, Rodgers said, people are entitled to their opinions, but opinions do not change facts. The only thing that matters in this league is production. And I have continued to produce at a high level. The reporter continued, but do you think age is starting to affect your game? Rodgers responded, age affects everyone eventually. No one plays forever. But I take care of my body. I train harder than ever, and I study the game more than I ever have. If someone believes my age is an issue, they should watch how I perform instead of make assumptions. The reporter then asked, do you feel like the league is moving past players like you? Rodgers smirked. People have been saying that for years. Every season there is a new quarterback, a new trend, and a new narrative. But here I am, still playing, still winning, and still competing. The league does not move past players who adapt, evolve, and continue to lead their teams. The reporter asked, so, do you believe you can still compete at an elite level? Rodgers responded, if I did not, I would not be here. If I was not capable, I would not be starting. I would not be leading my team, and I would not still be in this conversation. The moment I feel like I can no longer perform at my standard, I will be the first to step away. The reporter asked, so, you do not let outside noise affect your decisions? Rodgers' next response would shut down all doubts. The reporter asked, so, you do not let outside noise affect decisions? Aaron Rodgers responded, not at all. The only voices that matter are the ones in the locker room. My teammates, my coaches, and the people who actually see the work I put in every day. Those are the opinions I care about. The reporter followed up, but does it ever get frustrating hearing the same doubts year after year? Rodgers said, doubt is nothing new to me. I have dealt with it since the beginning of my career. The difference is I do not waste energy responding to it. My focus is on my game, my preparation, and My leadership. I do not need to convince anyone of my value, I prove it on the field. The reporter asked, "Do you think this kind of criticism is unfair?" Rodgers replied, "Criticism is part of the job. If you play long enough, people will eventually look for reasons to count you out. That is just how sports work. But the reality is, the best players stay focused on what they can control, how they train, how they perform, and how they lead." The reporter then asked, "So, what drives you to keep going despite the constant scrutiny?" Rodgers answered, "Simple. I love the game. I love the challenge. Every season is a new opportunity to grow, to win, and to prove that I still belong at the top. As long as I can still compete, I am not walking away because of opinions." The reporter had tried multiple angles, but Rodgers remained unshaken. His next words would send the strongest message yet. The reporter leaned forward and asked, "So, what would you say to the coach who criticized? Do you think he has a point, or is he just trying to stir controversy?" Aaron Rodgers kept his composure. "I would say that football is a competitive business. Everyone has opinions, and I respect that. But at the end of the day, words do not determine who succeeds, performance does. If someone thinks I have lost a step, they are free to believe that. But I will continue to do what I have always done: show up, work hard, and play at the highest level." The reporter pressed further. "So, do you believe this criticism comes from a place of truth, or do you think it is just an attempt to get attention?" Rodgers responded, "I cannot speak for someone else's motivation. Maybe he truly believes what he said, or maybe he just wanted to create headlines. Either way, it does not affect how I approach the game. I have played against plenty of great coaches who game plan against me every week, and I know for a fact that I am still a problem for defenses." The reporter followed up, "But does it add any pressure, knowing that people are watching closely for signs of decline?" Rodgers shook his head. "Pressure? Number I have played in Super Bowls, in playoff games, in the toughest environments. That is real pressure. A few comments from a coach? That is just noise. I have built my career on staying focused, blocking out distractions, and performing when it matters." The reporter asked, "Have you ever used criticism like this as motivation?" Rodgers said, "Early in my career, maybe. When you are young, you want to prove people wrong. But as you grow, you realize that success is not about proving doubters wrong. It is about proving yourself right. If you rely on outside noise to fuel you, that means you are letting others control your mindset. I play because I love the game, not because I want to respond to critics." The reporter shifted gears. "Many athletes struggle with knowing when to walk away. Have you thought about how you will know when it is time?" Rodgers nodded. "Absolutely. No one plays forever, and I am very aware of that. The moment I feel like I cannot compete at my standard, I will walk away. But right now, I know I can still perform, I know I can still lead, and I know I can still win." The reporter followed up. "But how do you measure that? Do you go by stats, by wins, or just by feel?" Rodgers responded, "It is everything. Stats matter, but they do not tell the full story. Wins matter. But football is a team sport. For me, it is about impact. Can I still make the tough throws? Can I still lead a team? Can I still make a difference when the game is on the line? As long as the answer is yes, I have no reason to leave." The reporter asked, "So for now, retirement is not even a thought?" Rodgers smirked. "Not at all. People love to predict the end of things. They have been predicting my decline for years. But last time I checked, I am still here, still competing, and still playing at a high level. The game will tell me when it is time and not a critic, not an analyst, and not a headline." The reporter nodded. "You have had a long career. If you could go back and change anything..." Rodgers took a moment before answering. "Number, every challenge, every setback, every criticism, it all shaped me into the player and person I am today." People get caught up the idea of regrets, but I see everything as a lesson. I have learned from losses, from mistakes, and from moments of doubt, and those lessons have made me better. The reporter then asked, "What advice would you give to young players who may face the same kind of doubt?" Rodgers said, "Do not let other people's opinions shape your belief in yourself. If you listen to every critic, you will start to doubt your own abilities. The key is to stay focused, keep working, and trust your own journey. Success does not come from trying to silence doubters. It comes from being relentless in your pursuit of excellence." The reporter paused before asking, "So what is next for Aaron Rodgers?" Rodgers smiled. "More football, more wins, and more proving that I still belong. My job is not done yet." At that moment, it became clear Rodgers was not interested in debates, predictions, or outside opinions. He was focused on what he had always been focused on: playing, competing, and winning. The interview had started with criticism, but by the end, it had turned into a statement of confidence, resilience, and self-belief. The reporter had tried multiple angles, but Aaron Rodgers remained steady. His confidence had not wavered, and his answers had shut down every attempt to make him question himself. Still, the reporter had one final approach. "Some critics say that veterans like you hold teams back from rebuilding, that younger players need their opportunity, and players like you are preventing that. How do you respond?" Rodgers nodded slightly before answering, "I have heard that argument before, and it always makes me laugh. This league is built on competition. No one is entitled to a spot. If a younger player is ready to take my place, he should come and take it. That is how the NFL works. If I am still here, it is because I have earned it." The reporter asked, "So you do not believe in stepping aside for the next generation?" Rodgers smirked. "Look, this is not a charity. No one hands out starting jobs out of kindness. If a young player is better, he will play. But until that happens, my job is to lead my team and win games. If that means I am still out there, then that is because I give my team the best chance to win." The reporter continued, "But does that create tension in the locker room?" Rodgers shook his head. "Not at all. The best players want to compete, and they want to be challenged. If anything, having experienced veterans raises the level of everyone else. I have had great mentors in my career, and I have done my best to pass that on. A real competitor does not complain about waiting. He works until he earns his moment." The reporter asked, "So you believe that leadership is about competition?" Rodgers nodded. "Absolutely. Leadership is not about words, it is about example. You cannot ask a young player to work hard if you are not doing it yourself. You cannot demand discipline. You are not disciplined. If I show up every day, put in the work, and push myself to be better, then that raises the standard for the entire team." The reporter then asked, "But what about critics who say leadership also means knowing when to step aside?" Rodgers smirked again. "Leadership means making decisions that are best for the team. If I ever feel like I am holding my team back, I will be the first to step aside. But as long as I am playing at a high level and helping my team win, I have no plans to walk away just to satisfy someone else's opinion." The reporter pushed again. "You have had a long career. What do you think is the biggest misconception about you?" Rodgers thought for a moment. "People assume they know everything about an athlete just because they see highlights, stats, or interviews. But the truth is, no one sees the sacrifices, the late nights, the extra work. People only see the results, not the process. I take this game seriously, and I have put in years of work to stay at this level. If people think I am still playing just for fun or ego, they have no idea how much goes into this." The reporter asked, "So you believe critics do not understand what it takes to stay in the league?" Rodgers said, "Most critics have never played at this level, so they speak from the outside, looking in. It is easy to judge when you are not the one putting in the work. The NFL is the most competitive league in the world. No one stays here by accident." The reporter then asked, "If this is such a demanding league, what keeps you going?" Rodgers responded, "I love the challenge. I love competing. I love proving that I can still perform at the highest level. The day that love disappears is the day I will walk away. But right now, I am still here, and I still love every second of it." The reporter followed up, "You have talked a lot about proving yourself. Do you think that is something all great players have in common?" Rodgers nodded. "Every great athlete has a chip on their shoulder. It does not matter how much you have won or how many records you have set. There is always something inside of you that pushes you to do more. That hunger is what separates the greats from everyone else." The reporter then asked, "Do you ever feel satisfied with what you have accomplished?" Rodgers paused for a moment. "I appreciate everything I have done, but I do not dwell on it. The moment you start feeling satisfied, you stop growing. That is why I still compete, still push myself, and still demand more from my game." The reporter asked, "So what is left for you to accomplish?" Rodgers smiled. "More wins, more moments, more opportunities to do what I love. My journey is not over yet." By this point, the interview had taken a completely different turn. It had started as an attempt to challenge Rodgers, to push him into a defensive position, but instead, it had revealed something much deeper: his unwavering belief in himself, his love for the game, and his commitment to excellence. The coach's criticism that started it all had become irrelevant. Rodgers had not responded with anger or frustration. Instead, he had spoken with clarity, focus, and confidence. He had proven once again that his success was not built on words but on actions. The reporter asked one final question. "What is the biggest lesson you have learned throughout your career?" Aaron Rodgers took a moment before answering. "The biggest lesson? Control what you can control. In football and in life, there will always be doubters, critics, and people who try to define you, but the only thing that truly matters is how you respond. You cannot control what people say about you, but you can control how hard you work, how you carry yourself, and how much effort you give every single day." The reporter asked, "So, if you could go back and tell your younger self one thing, what would it be?" Rodgers smiled. "I would tell him to trust the process, to not let the noise get too loud, to understand that success is not about proving people wrong, it is about proving yourself right. You do not need validation from others. You just need to stay true to yourself, work hard, and keep going, no matter what obstacles come your way." The interview ended, but Rodgers' words resonated far beyond football. His response was not just about the game, it was about life itself. His message was clear. Success is not about reacting to criticism. It is about staying focused, believing in yourself, and never letting outside voices dictate your path. Rodgers' story is a powerful reminder that no one gets through life without criticism. Whether in sports, business, or personal life, there will always be people who doubt you, question your abilities, and try to define your limits. But Rodgers' approach teaches an important lesson. You do not owe anyone an explanation for your success. You owe yourself the commitment to keep growing, keep working, and keep proving, if not to others, then to yourself. The truth is, in every field there will always be people who say you are not good enough or past your prime. But the greats, the ones who leave a legacy, the ones who block out the noise and focus on what truly matters. Life is full of challenges, and people will always have something to say. But at the end of the day, your success is built on your effort, resilience, and belief in yourself. Do you listen to doubt, or do you rise above it? The choice is yours. What is one moment where you had to push past criticism? Share your story.